How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the 2020 podcast, bringing clarity to business, entrepreneurship, and life. I am your host, Dr. Harbir Sayan. Thank you so much for taking the time to join me to learn and to grow. I truly appreciate all the support, guys. Everybody who tunes in, whether you're on YouTube or Spotify or Apple, truly appreciate the support. And on that note, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on YouTube, on Apple Podcasts, follow along on Spotify, and please remember to leave a comment or leave a review. I always love hearing about what you guys think of the podcast. Now, if you have been listening for a while, you know I love to bring on amazing guests who can share their stories, share their insights to help us all grow, no matter what industry they might be from or what industry we might be in. We can always learn from the stories of other people and the struggles that they've gone through to grow to where they are now. One of the things I wanted to implement to the podcast more here in 2021 was more solo episodes. So today is going to be a solo episode, just me on this one here with you guys, sharing some of my insights. And in particular, there was a talk that I did at the Canadian Dry Eye Summit, which is really an amazing amalgamation of dry eye specialists and experts talking about their experience. I really felt humbled, honestly, to be part of that group of people speaking at that event. But one of the presentations I gave, coming from sort of a beginner's perspective, beginner's mindset here, one of the talks I gave was called the 5-step plan to integrating a dry eye practice into your clinic. And again, thinking about it from the basics of what I implemented here in our clinics to get things off the ground and get them growing so we can get some momentum. And really, it's been an exciting journey for us. We got some new exciting equipment coming into our offices, which I'm really excited to share with you guys soon. But today, I want to go through those 5 steps in the 5-step plan. If you're looking to get something off the ground in your practice, what are the small incremental steps that you can make? What are those important key features that you can implement into your practice right now today that will help you get the ball rolling? What's up, guys? I want to take a minute to thank our sponsor, Labtician Thea. Labtician Thea is a Canadian eye care company that is changing the way ECPs are treating dry eye and glaucoma. All of Labtician Thea products are preservative-free and only available through eye care providers, which, as you hear me talk about in this episode, is a really key part of developing your dry eye practice. Labtician Thea's flagship eye drop is Thelos Duo, which is really changing the way we treat dry eye with its unique ingredient trehalose, which not only treats symptoms of dry eye, but also helps heal the ocular surface. Thelos Duo was recognized by DEWS 2 as being an important part of a comprehensive dry eye treatment plan. To learn more about Thelos Duo or Labtician Thea products in general, reach out to your local Labtician Thea rep. I also want to give a shout out to the first 3 people who commented correctly on my recent Instagram post when I was pointing at that little silver instrument behind me, which was, of course, the MyBox, which is my Bographer, which is distributed by Labtician Thea. We're going to talk more about the MyBox more in this episode, but I want to give a quick shout out to those first 3 people, which is Dr. Devinder Sidhu, Dr. Claudine Curry, and at MyEyeDoc on Instagram. Thank you for commenting, being quick to comment, but thank you to everybody else for commenting on that post as well. Look out for more content coming real soon. In the meantime, enjoy the rest of this episode. And I tell you what, it was pretty intimidating for me right off the top, trying to figure out which devices do I buy, which equipment, what different types of forms am I going to use, and how do I educate my staff, all these things running through my head at the same time. And of course, thinking from kind of this tech nerdy brain that I have, I was super excited to just go buy all the equipment. I wanted to buy all the stuff, but of course, not the most sensible thing to do. So that's where this 5-step plan comes in. Let's jump right in right now. Step 1 is to develop a protocol, not to go out and buy, the new shiny device, the new shiny machine, the one that you think is going to treat all your patients. That comes later on down the list. Step 1 is to develop a protocol, meaning what is the patient journey for any patient that walks in the door that is going to be officially diagnosed with dry eye? What are they going to go through? What pre-testing do you currently have? What would you like to add? What will the doctor say to them? What will the follow-ups look like? And of course, what will the fees be? These are all really, really important to establish right off the top, have it all written down, laminated and all of that before you're ready to go buy any new equipment. Because if you don't have that set, trust me, I've been there. You'll have patients coming in the door where you say you have dry eye. I think I need to see you back, but I don't really know. Let's just pick one of our previous codes. I'll just charge you $50 for the next visit. And you're kind of guessing all the way through. You want to have it all written down. And this is something that really I didn't think of in the beginning. It came to me through discussions with colleagues, with reps from different dry eye companies, understanding that developing this algorithm for each different type of patient and the different types of potential treatments. So patient A walks in the door, they go down this arm of the algorithm, they need this treatment, it will require this many follow-ups, the cost will be this much. Having as much of that written down as possible is so valuable. It takes away so much more work down the road when you do actually implement the dry eye, or as the dry eye practice grows, more importantly. So step one, develop a protocol. It sounds more complicated than it is. I promise it's really not that hard, but write that down. And if you like to, laminate it as well so everybody can see it and everybody's on the same page. Okay, so step two is screening and diagnosis. And I know this is where you're like, all right, Harbir, tell me which shiny, fancy diagnostic piece of equipment should I go get? And I'm going to say, hold your horses. What we want to first establish is what tools do we have at our disposal right here, right now, in your office that will be basically free for you to implement with your current existing patient base. We want to determine what percentage of our current patients already have dry eyes. We don't even have to go out there and start marketing to people. If your schedule is full with your standard routine patients, why not see how many of those already have dry eye? And the easiest thing you can implement right now is a dry eye questionnaire. That is the first thing we did. As we were developing step one, we were developing our protocol, we simultaneously implemented a dry eye questionnaire. Now we picked the DEQ5, as the name suggests, 5 questions, fairly easy for patients to understand, and really gives us a really quick tally of what types of symptoms our patients are dealing with on sort of a regular, recurring basis. And it gives me a simple score to show the patient to say, here's where you fall on the spectrum, or to at least give me the information to know. Because a lot of times you'll ask patients how they're feeling and they won't initially give you that explanation of this situation they're dealing with on a daily basis, but you'll look at that score and say, okay, you told me you have no issues, but you scored a 12 on the DEQ5, something's not adding up. And you know to kind of ask more probing questions and tease out some more of that information. So number one in the screening and diagnosis is to implement a dry eye questionnaire for every single patient that walks in the door. So that's new or existing, whether you've seen them for the first time or for 10 years straight. Make sure you implement that dry eye questionnaire, and that will help you to start to distinguish how many of your patients currently that you're seeing already are dealing with these symptoms. And then you can start to do a little bit more in depth, again, using tools that are at your disposal now, like fluorescein, for example, or just squeezing on the eyelids, or taking smartphone photography on the slit lamp. Or if you have digital photography or imaging on your slit lamp already, great, using those images. Even if we're going to take it a step back from there, I often will use generic images, provided to me by different dry eye companies, or just something that I've found online that I can show to patients to say, here's what your eyes kind of look like and what they should look like, and gives a patient the opportunity to understand what we're trying to do with their eyes. Okay, so if you want to take it a step further, and I know you want to take it a step further, there are, of course, amazing diagnostic equipment options out there for us to implement in our practice. Now, there's a lot of options out there. We have been using my box from Box Medical Solutions, which is provided to us from Labtician Thea, of course. And this sleek device is easy to implement, easy to use, gives amazing infrared images of the meibomian glands. If you're not watching, if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, make sure to go back and tune into YouTube and watch this episode for some visuals of the MyBox and some of the other things that I'm going to talk about here coming up. I think you'll like to see what it actually looks like, this little device, and it's kind of sleek and the images are amazing. All right, so we've covered 2 steps already. Number 1, remember, is to create a protocol, develop that algorithm for that patient journey through your office. So you have all the fee structures and everything in place before you really start to build up that practice within your clinic. Step 2 is to really get your diagnosis and screening in place, because you can't treat something if you don't see it. And I guarantee you there are a lot more patients in your current practice that have dry eye that could be treated and whose quality of life could be improved with just some simple tools that we already have at our disposal. And then, of course, amazing tools like the MyBox that are available to us to go a lot deeper and to really start to tease out those more complicated patients. Step 3 is to retail at-home products. Now, I think this one's pretty basic or pretty obvious, and I bet when most of you are thinking about starting dry eye practices within your clinic, you're thinking about having these types of products on hand. And we're talking about eye drops, we're talking about heat masks, and omegas, and all these types of things that are kind of key to our standard of dry eye care. And it seems obvious, but I know there's a lot of people out there, because this is me not very long ago, who are still handing out samples for their patients who have dry eye. And we say, well, you know what, I got this bottle of whatever I have. This should help your symptoms. Patient takes that home. They run out of those drops. And maybe they go to the drugstore and buy more of the same, but more likely they forget about it and they continue their life dealing with the symptoms that they're dealing with. And now, if that's not you, great. But if that is you, don't worry. That was me not very long ago. And I promise it initially seems like a tough transition to not hand out samples. We don't do samples anymore. We haven't for a long time now. But once you start carrying a small batch of products in your office, products that you believe in, that you can truthfully, authentically recommend to your patients, you'll see there is a significant turnaround. Okay, first of all, patients will believe in your recommendation, but their compliance goes up significantly. And the reason for this is, imagine sending, now we've all been there, imagine sending your patient to the drugstore and saying, go grab this bottle of ABC drops from the drugstore. They walk into the drugstore, they walk into the eye drop aisle, and they're bombarded with like 500 different options. And of course, it's Visine that they see at eye level. And they say, well, that one looks like it says it's for dry eye. I'm going to take that one. And they're stuck using Visine for a couple of weeks. They run out of that. End of story. When you sell the right products in your office, you can make a proper recommendation, a professional recommendation to your patient. They'll take that to heart, and you can show them on the way out exactly what they should be buying. You'll see compliance goes through the roof. So it seems, again, it might seem a little bit intimidating to, see which products to bring in, how many to bring in. We really started very small. We started with one eye drop, one, heat mask. We started with one omega and one set of wipes, and just kind of products that we knew patients wanted, that we were recommending on a regular basis. And we've grown from there. And, we carry the Brooder mask. And eventually we grew to carrying some more specialty type drops, for example, like Thelos Duo, also from Labtician Thea, for patients who have more chronic, more severe types of dry eye or keratitis due to dry eye, things like that. So you start to carry a much broader range of drops that can serve a broader range of your patients. But you start with that small, comfortable range that can at least get you kind of those standard patients. And of course, you'll start to grow into more complicated or more complex, or advanced, I should say, drops and products that you can offer. On another note, something that's worked really well for me, and if you followed me on Instagram or anywhere else, you've probably seen this, or if you saw this talk at the Canadian Dry Eye Summit, one of the things that I love that we developed is this little prescription pad. So prescription pad, if you're watching on YouTube, or you're not watching on YouTube, I'm throwing up air quotes. And again, if you're not watching, please do go tune in so you can see what this looks like. And if you want one of these, I'm happy to send the template that we use, anything to help you guys get into this. But basically, it's got a short list of things, 5 things that we just check off or circle, and lid hygiene and warm compresses, artificial tears. And I'll leave some space to handwrite in the name of the artificial tears that I'm recommending, or the omega that I'm recommending. And I literally tear it off and I hand it to the patient like a proper prescription. And you can tell patients like that, that tangible thing that they have in their hand. They'll ask me what to do with it, even though I've said, this is for you to keep. Ask me what to do with it. But I'll say, take it to the front, and the staff at the front desk will help you fill that prescription, or help you, get the products that you need to take care of yourself according to that prescription. And again, you'll see compliance go through the roof. And of course, as a secondary benefit, we are running a business, and there is a big boost on the bottom line when you have that patients buying that product from you. And of course, they're going to come back to you because they bought that specific, doctor recommended product that's not available over the counter at the drugstore, that it's helped them so much. They're going to come back to you for that same product again and again. And they're going to trust you to help continue to treat that dry eye that hasn't been resolved for them in the past using those other products. So that's step 3, is retailing at-home products. Start small and grow from there. All right, so as we work down our algorithm, step 1, the protocol, step 2, screening diagnosis, step 3 is at-home products, and step 4 is the more advanced treatment options, which is, I know what you've been waiting for, is like, all right, give me the good stuff. Which big fancy treatment device should I go get? Is it IPL, or is it RF, or is it iLux, or whatever it is? There are so many options out there. There's no right answer. I'm not here to tell you that you should go get one or the other, but I can tell you now from our experience, it is beneficial to have something in the office that is a more advanced option for patients. And of course, there will be patients who have more advanced dry eye. There will be patients who don't get treated or don't get the relief they need from using a Bruder mask or using a Thielose or whatever it might be, because their dry eye is more advanced than that. And that's where these treatment devices, of course, are obviously helpful for us, is to treat those more advanced, more complicated cases. But there's also the appearance or the image. And I know this sounds silly, but like, our patients want to know that we are at the forefront of our industry, that we are providing the best possible care for them, and having something in the office like that. And that goes for, other areas in our practice. If you have ultra wide field imaging, you have OCT, these are all types of instruments that are becoming standard of care, yes, but still at the same time show our patients that we are willing to stay at the top of the game, to bring in the right kind of instrumentation and technology to make sure we're providing the best care. Same goes in dry eye. Offering your patients something a little more advanced is going to let them know that you got their back, even if things are getting worse or they're not getting better the way we hope they would. We have something else in our back pocket to help them. And then, of course, there's patients who, I get this, once you start doing this, if you're not there already, you'll start to see patients who be like, forget that Bruder mask stuff. Give me that good stuff right now. Just treat me, go zap me with whatever you got in the next room right now. I just want to get this dealt with as quick as I can. Right? You'll get the people who are like, let me go home and try the at-home stuff for a month. And then you'll get the people who are like, no, I don't have time for that. Fix me right now, doc. And then you go to the next room, you do whatever the treatment is that you have there. All right, so you'll get a mixed bag of all those things. But it's really important to have that and know where in your algorithm that treatment option is going to fit. Okay, so there's a topic here that becomes a little bit uncomfortable for people, right? It's a little bit controversial, and that's the idea of having to sell. Again, if you're not watching, air quotes, selling this treatment option to our patients. And I think, speaking again from experience, because I've always been uncomfortable with selling, right? I even had trouble bringing retail products into the office because I felt like I was going to have to sell to the patient. But I realized that when I'm educating our patients on their condition and what our treatment plan is related to their condition, then providing the solution is really not that hard, and patients really do see things the way that you'd like them to see them when you take the time to educate. And that we found that with the retail products at home, and we found the same with treatment options and more advanced treatment options. Of course, the cost is greater up front, but when you have a patient whose quality of life is suffering from this condition that we often overlook, they're willing to spend a little bit of money to know that they're going to get the relief that they're looking for. And we bring in treatment options that we believe are actually going to give patients the relief. So it doesn't feel like selling per se. It feels like educating and providing a solution. I think that's how we need to look at this, not so much selling. And it's really important when you're doing this, again, not to make anybody uneasy and not to be controversial about this at all, but when we're presenting these options to our patients, it's often beneficial to present them with that sort of option A, B, C. And option A should always be the most comprehensive option, the one that you believe is going to be the most, is going to provide the best benefit, the best results for the patient. So, for example, I will usually suggest, in your case, Mr. Smith, you have moderate to severe dry eye. In this case, I would suggest this treatment option that we provide in our office. This advanced treatment option usually requires 2 or 3 treatments over this span of time. In addition, at home doing the hot compress and these eye drops and these other things, we will follow up with you on this schedule and give them that full scope. Let them understand the benefit, the entire thing. And then if necessary, if we feel like we need to, we can break it down to a more simplified option B or C and go from there. But it's really important to really place option A first and not be, in the position of saying, well, we could start with hot compresses and see how you feel. And if it's not working, then we also have this other thing. Because when you say we also have this other thing, it makes it seem like it's not that important or that effective. If it was, why wouldn't you tell it first? Why wouldn't you position it as the number one option? And that's what we found has been really beneficial as far as implementing these technologies, getting the uptake that we'd like to see, and getting the results, most importantly, getting the results for our patients. So that's number 4, is providing advanced in-office treatment options to your patients and, really helping them understand what the benefits of those treatment options are. All right, guys, we made it to step 5. Well done. Here we are. We've gotten through setting our protocol. We've developed our screening and diagnosis plan. We've determined which retail products we're going to sell and then which advanced therapies we're going to provide to our patients. And the glue that's going to hold all of that together is teamwork. And I don't mean to get all mushy on you guys, but teamwork is the glue. And that's teamwork within the office with the staff and the doctors, making sure everybody's on the same page, making sure the message is consistent across the board. But I think even more importantly, or at least equally as importantly beyond that, is teamwork with your reps, with the industry, with our partners in the industry, with the companies that are there trying to help us. And our reps truly are going to help or trying to help us and provide us with solutions and problem solve for us. And so I highly recommend that you reach out with them, connect with them, lean on them. And I mean that seriously. And I think they do take pride in the fact that we lean on them and they can help us get through these difficult situations or get past those sticking points when you feel like maybe you're not getting enough patients or uptake on a certain device or certain treatment option. They really help you build in different problem-solving techniques and different structures and algorithms to help you get through those times. So build those relationships, set goals, set incentives for your staff. And again, your reps will help you with that. Set incentives for your staff for how many, on a really basic level. When we started out, how many DEQ5s can we do in a week? What percentage of patients did we get to do a DEQ5? Really basic, but it was a really great way to get our staff involved. And they were excited to make sure we hit a certain target. And then you can grow those incentives, of course, incentivize your staff in different ways. Check in with your reps or have them check in with you on a regular schedule to make sure that you're getting the uptake from the treatment options and the solutions they're providing you. And keep in mind that many of these dry eye devices, these more advanced options, have consumables with them. And our companies and our reps that we work with, they do benefit from us using these devices more frequently. And so it doesn't benefit anyone to have you having bought an advanced piece of equipment and just leaving it on the shelf. Our reps are there to help us make sure that device gets used and gets used appropriately and gets our relief to our patients the way that we should. So teamwork is the key. Make sure you build that relationship with your reps. Make sure you build that excitement within the office. Make sure everybody's on the same page. And it's really going to be the key to making sure your dry eye practice gets off the ground and starts to build momentum. Okay, so that's the 5-step plan, but I have one bonus suggestion for you guys. And of course, if you know me, social media is always part of the plan. Make sure you take advantage of social media with all of this, all right? There's so many people out there suffering in silence, literally, because they don't know that they have dry eye, or they know they have dry eye, but nobody's done anything for it. I've been one of those doctors who hasn't done the right thing for those patients before. So I'm coming to you from experience. Get out there, get vocal, get yourself in front of the camera if you're not already comfortable doing that, and let your patients know what you have. Let them know, hey guys, I've just brought in this cool new device, this new diagnostic equipment, or, we're really reaching out to our dry eye patients. We want to provide you with new solutions, this new eye drop that we've brought in, whatever it might be. Get out there on social media, share it with your audience, share it with your patients. You'll bring in new patients. We've had new patients come in because they've seen that we've talked about these advanced eye drops that we carry, like Thelos Duo, or the diagnostic equipment that we have now, like MyBox. And people want to know more about themselves. People love that education. So get out there, get on social media, use it to your advantage, and educate the public, educate your patients on what's available to them through you. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in to another episode of the 2020 podcast. It's fun doing a solo episode. I hope you guys found some insights here. Even if you're an established dry eye doc, I hope maybe there's some little pearls in there that might be beneficial to you. And if you're just getting off the ground, if you're not sure where to start, give me a shout. I'm always happy to talk. Shoot me a message on Instagram at harbirsayan.od, or you can find me on all the other platforms, of course. Don't forget to subscribe to the 2020 podcast on Apple Podcasts, on YouTube. Leave a comment, leave a review. Of course, we're on Spotify as well, so follow along there. Thank you all so much. I'll see you again with another episode really, really soon. And thank you to the sponsor, Labtician Thea, for their support on this podcast as well. Take care, guys.